Welcome to my channel. The story of Charlie Kirk's sudden and shocking death has shaken political and religious communities across America. But while many reports focused only on the how of his passing, few dared to dig into the why. Now, stunning revelations have surfaced, and they come directly from the one person closest to him, his widow. What she revealed has left even his strongest supporters speechless. Charlie Kirk's final phone call was not just a goodbye, but a desperate cry for help after being blackmailed. For weeks, rumors had circulated that Kirk seemed troubled in his final days. Friends described him as distant and unusually quiet, while those inside his inner circle noticed he was making late-night phone calls, pacing hallways, and even canceling important meetings. No one could understand why a man so confident and outspoken would suddenly appear fragile and vulnerable. The shocking truth, as his widow confirmed, is that Charlie Kirk was living under unbearable pressure. Threats from people who wanted to control him. The last call that changed everything. According to his widow, Charlie's final hours were consumed by a single phone call that revealed the depth of his struggle. It wasn't a political strategy session or a friendly check-in. It was a terrifying exchange with someone who held power over him, someone who knew secrets Charlie had tried to keep buried. His widow has bravely confirmed that the call was about blackmail. "He told me right before it happened," she said with trembling words. "He said they had something on him. Something they threatened to destroy him with if he didn't comply. That phone call wasn't about politics, it was about survival." The identity of the blackmailer remains unclear, but sources close to the investigation believe it was not just one person. Instead, it may have been an organized effort, a group determined to silence Charlie or bend him to their will. The widow's revelation now suggests that his final moments were consumed by fear, not just of exposure, but of betrayal by those he once trusted, a pattern of strange behavior. In the weeks before his death, Charlie's public appearances painted the picture of a confident leader. But, behind closed doors, the reality was different. Reports say he often stayed awake until dawn, locked in his office, making phone calls no one else was allowed to hear. Staff members noticed he grew more paranoid, often checking over his shoulder and asking if his phone lines were secure. He stopped trusting people, one insider revealed. He thought his emails were hacked. He thought his phone was tapped. He even told me once that he believed someone was following him when he left events. It wasn't the Charlie we knew, it was a man who was being hunted. The widow's confirmation now explains these unusual actions. If Charlie truly was being blackmailed, every move he made could have been monitored, every conversation overheard, every decision twisted against him. The pressure of carrying such a secret would have been enough to break anyone. The widow's heartbreaking confession. Standing before cameras for the first time after his death, Charlie Kirk's widow struggled to hold back tears as she spoke about the last time she saw her husband alive. "He was shaking," she said. "I'd never seen him like that. Charlie was always strong, always so full of energy and confidence. But that night, he looked broken. He told me, 'They won't stop. They'll ruin everything if I don't give them what they want.'" She revealed that Charlie wanted to protect his family, his reputation, and his life's work. But the threats weighed too heavily. The blackmailers had struck fear into him with precision, cornering him with secrets he believed could destroy, not only him, but also the people he loved most. What could they have had on him? The question everyone is now asking, what was the blackmail about? While his widow chose not to reveal details, speculation has ignited across media outlets. Some believe it may have been linked to his political work, suggesting opponents dug up damaging information. Others wonder if it was personal, something from his private life, twisted and weaponized against him. Charlie was a fighter. A longtime friend commented, he would never back down from a political enemy. For him to break like this, it had to be something incredibly personal, something that cut deeper than politics. Whatever it was, the widow has confirmed that the secret was powerful enough to silence him, and tragically, it may have been what drove him to his breaking point. A legacy now shattered by questions. In the aftermath of his passing, tributes poured in from supporters who hailed him as a fearless voice for his beliefs. Yet, with the widow's heartbreaking confirmation of blackmail, his legacy now carries haunting questions. Who was behind it? Why target Charlie Kirk so aggressively? And most importantly, could his death have been prevented if the truth had been exposed earlier? The widow insists that speaking out is the only way to honor her husband's memory. "He didn't deserve to suffer like that," she said. "I won't let his voice be silenced. People need to know what really happened." Her courage has sparked new calls for an investigation, with many demanding that law enforcement dig deeper into the threats Charlie faced. Supporters believe that uncovering the truth about the blackmail may not only bring justice but also protect others who could be facing the same hidden battles. The silence around his final moments. One of the most chilling parts of this story is the eerie silence that surrounded Charlie's last moments. Despite his status and the people around him, no one seemed to know the weight he was carrying. His widow confessed that he had grown distant, almost as if he was trying to shield others from the danger he faced. He thought keeping it to himself would keep us safe, she explained, but in the end, it only made him more isolated. Friends who tried to reach out in his final days now admit they missed the warning signs. His quick smiles and firm handshakes masked a heart that was breaking under the burden of blackmail. And when his last call came, it was too late. The beginning of a larger story. This shocking revelation is just the start of a much larger story. If Charlie Kirk, a man known for his boldness, could be brought down by blackmail, it raises questions about how many other public figures are being controlled in the shadows. His widow's confirmation is not just a personal confession, it's a warning. This wasn't just about Charlie, she insisted, this was about power, and if it happened to him, it can happen to anyone. Her words have turned what was once a private tragedy into a public call for accountability. The truth behind Charlie Kirk's final phone call is no longer a whisper. It's a thunderclap demanding to be heard.
The confirmation from Charlie Kirk's widow that her husband's final call was connected to blackmail sent shockwaves across the nation. Yet, even with that revelation, one question lingers louder than any other. Who was behind it? The widow's words cracked the door open, but now people are demanding to know what dark force was pulling the strings in Charlie's last days. A man surrounded by secrets. For years, Charlie Kirk stood on the front lines of politics and faith, speaking boldly about issues that divided America. That kind of position made him not only admired but also hated. With every viral speech and controversial comment, he made enemies, powerful ones. Some were political rivals, others were shadowy figures who didn't like his influence on young audiences. Behind the scenes, people now believe those enemies were digging for weaknesses. According to insiders, Charlie's private communications had been targeted for months. His phone activity spiked, his social media showed irregular logins, and even his personal bank accounts revealed unusual patterns. The signs were there, but no one realized it was the work of blackmailers until it was too late. Charlie knew they had eyes on him, one former staffer revealed. He told me once that it felt like he was being watched everywhere he went. I thought he was just being paranoid. But now I know he was right. The last call, a desperate negotiation. The widow shared more details about that haunting final phone call. According to her, Charlie wasn't just listening, he was pleading. He kept saying, "Please, don't do this. You don't understand what this will do to my family." His voice broke. I'd never heard him sound that way before. She described how he paced the room, gripping the phone so tightly his knuckles turned white. At one point, he whispered, "You win. I'll do what you want, just don't release it." Those chilling words paint the picture of a man cornered by forces that had complete control over him. The blackmail wasn't just a threat, it was a weapon. And Charlie's final call was his last attempt to protect what mattered most to him. What were they holding over him? Speculation now runs wild about what the blackmailers actually had. While no concrete evidence has surfaced, multiple theories have taken hold. Political scandal theory. Some believe it involved damaging political ties, possibly leaked communications that could ruin his credibility. Financial entanglement theory. Others suggest the blackmail was about questionable financial dealings, taken out of context but enough to tarnish his image. Personal secret theory. The most chilling theory is that it was personal, something from his private life, twisted into a weapon that could humiliate not just him, but his family as well. The widow has not confirmed any of these theories, but she has admitted one heartbreaking truth. Whatever it was, Charlie believed it was enough to destroy him. That's why he couldn't escape. Friends who saw the cracks. In the days after his death, several close friends came forward with haunting testimonies. One friend recalled how Charlie abruptly left a dinner meeting, mumbling that he had to take care of something urgent. Another described how he started showing up late, distracted, and at times even forgetting his lines during public appearances. Something completely unlike him. He was always sharp, always on top of everything, the friend said. But those last few weeks, he seemed like he was somewhere else. Now I know why. Even his widow admitted she could see the cracks forming. She tried to reach him, but he refused to tell her everything. He thought he was protecting me, she said, but he was only protecting the blackmailers. The widow breaks the silence. The moment she decided to speak publicly was not an easy one. In fact, many urged her to stay quiet, fearing that exposing the truth might put her in danger as well. But in her words, "I couldn't live with myself if I let the world believe Charlie left us without a reason. He wasn't weak, he wasn't reckless, he was trapped." Her statement instantly shifted the narrative. What had been reported as a sudden tragedy now became a dark story of power, threats, and control. Overnight, the conversation turned from what happened to Charlie Kirk to who blackmailed him and why. The evidence of blackmail. Though the widow didn't share the specifics, she hinted that there was evidence left behind, messages, recordings, and possibly financial trails that could prove Charlie's final days were shaped by coercion. She admitted that investigators now have access to his devices and that she is cooperating fully. "There are things on his phone, emails, and accounts that show he was being targeted," she said. "I won't reveal everything yet, but the world will see the truth." This revelation suggests that a storm is brewing, one that could shake not only Charlie's legacy but the very institutions he challenged during his lifetime. If the blackmail came from political rivals, the scandal could rock the foundations of power. If it came from insiders, it could expose corruption deeper than anyone imagined. Supporters demand answers. The widow's words have unleashed a tidal wave of emotion among Charlie's supporters. Across social media, hashtags like #JusticeForCharlie and #ExposeTheBlackmail began trending. Thousands of people demanded transparency, calling for a full-scale investigation. "Charlie gave his life for the truth," one supporter wrote. "Now it's time for the truth to be given back to him." Rallies have even been organized in his honor, with crowds chanting for answers. His followers believe that speaking out about the blackmail is the only way to ensure his death is not in vain. The hidden enemy. What makes this story even more terrifying is that the identity of the blackmailer, or blackmailers, remains in the shadows. His widow insists she doesn't know who exactly it was, only that they were relentless and had resources that made them almost untouchable. "They had power," she said. "This wasn't just some random person.